YouTube, what's going on? Chris of Journals Comics. I'm out here sweating in summer heat with the fan blowing behind me, and it is still hot. But I'm gonna do this this video for the one and only TheDoom143. He is letting me get in on the last minute. I made a quick little video coming back from Disneyland after a couple months off from Facebook, so I was glad to see Doom doing his thing, and now he's at 700 subscribers. Congrats, man. Actually, he's over 800, so I think when I left, he was doing his like 400 subscriber contest, so this is awesome, and I'm very humble for him to allow me to get into this contest last minute. So a good way to enter back. And what does he want from us? A huge stack. So last night and this morning, I went through my 11,000 books and tried to pick out my top 50 guys. So I'm going to tell you right now, I did the best that I could, but it's hard to go through 11,000 books. I picked out keys that I knew that were top, and I also picked some top covers, you know, just for the covers. But a lot of the books that I picked are books that are key to me or mean something to me, you know, from my childhood or at pivotal points in collecting and whatnot. So that's what you're going to be seeing here. First off, he wanted us to shout out a few YouTubers that are low, about 100 or so or less subs. So the three that I picked out. Oh, by the way, this is my first video using my stand, so I hope it's good for you guys. Here we go. All right, 3 YouTubers. Go sub them out. Big O. I don't know if that's blurry here. Like I said, I'm trying to adjust to the stand. Big O. Then we got Brighton and Alyssa Comics. And then lastly, Captain Cold Comics. So I will leave a link to them in the subscription. Sorry, probably making you dizzy with that sheet. Let's just toss that up there. Check those 3 YouTubers out, guys. Give them subs. And then let's go into this, because this is probably going to take a while. And I already wasted a few minutes here. So, TheDoom143, 50 top comics for his 700 sub contest. Alright guys, for those of you who know me, I'm going to start out here with my first comic book ever, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures. It collects the mini-series that came out before the full-on volume, well I guess you could say it's volume 2 that they did. And if you know the story, I'll try to make it quick this time. I was in Alpha Beta grocery store in the 80s, I believe it was 1987. I was probably 4 years old, and I was in the shopping store with my mom, sitting in the cart, saw this on the rack, bought it. It has so much nostalgia and meaning to me. I love this book. It is in bad shape because it was like my holy grail when I was little. Drew pictures out of it, read it so many times. That's my number 1 right there, guys. All right. Continuing on with some Ninja Turtles, this was one of my favorites. This was number 3 of the full-on Archie Adventure series. I love the cover. I don't remember the specifics, but you know how you guys, you remember moments and you have it in your mind. And I remember buying this. I don't remember so much that I can really put into words. I know it was from my local shop, Pinole Comics and Cards, which was, you know, right off the highway by where I grew up. That was the spot I went to when I was growing up. And I remember picking it up and noticing the cover and just reading the book. So, yeah, that's a good one. 2 down, 48 to go. All right, this guy, of course, I do not have the original Amazing Fantasy 15, but I got this one, and it was huge. You know, I got this when I was what? When I was like 9 years old when this came out, and even though it's not the original, I mean, it really furthered my love for Spider-Man because I was already a big Spider-Man fan at that time. So I love the Marvel Milestones. The color just pops. The pages. I love the silver border on the you know, on the covers. All right. Whoop. Sorry, bumped the stand here, guys. Got to get used to it. All right. Next up is Amazing Spider-Man number 59. I love this cover. Just classic John Romita and Mary Jane. I love classic Mary Jane. The long red hair. Well, probably one of my favorite silver through bronze age Spider-Man covers. And here we go, another Marvel milestone. Of course, I wish I had, trying to get the glare out of here for you guys too. I wish I had the original, of course. But again, I got this around the same time when I was like 9 years old. Further my love for Spider-Man. And first appearance of the Punisher, Amazing Spider-Man number 129. One of my favorite keys that I own, Amazing Spider-Man number 194. First appearance of the Black Cat. I love Black Cat. She's crazy, and that's okay. If I was Peter Parker, I would have fell for her too. Just another reason why I relate to Peter Parker. It's interesting. But, you know, try to find the good in people, and you know, you're left sometimes in sticky situations because, you know, they might be a little crazy, but hey. All right. One of my favorite books in my collection, Amazing Spider-Man 252. I got two of them. I don't know if I told you guys the story. I had this one since a long time ago. And when I moved some years ago, like 7 years ago, I couldn't find it in my collection. Just this book. I don't know what happened to it. So last year I ended up getting 2 new copies. So I was very happy. I don't know what happened to my original copy. I really don't. I don't know if somebody stole it. But it's like it was that one book that got misplaced. So glad to get that one back. Now, I would show Amazing Spider-Man 300 if I had it, but I don't. So this is the closest I get to it. I love the iconic McFarlane Spider-Man in the little circle frame. I just love how it pops at you. I just recently did a Daredevil drawing. I posted it on my Journal Comics Facebook, where I did Daredevil in that position, but he was holding swords, and it had the little circle behind it. I did it for a kid's birthday, because he loved did I say Daredevil? I meant Deadpool, because he loves Deadpool. All right, Amazing Spider-Man number 301. Moving on. Now, this was like the heyday for me, with Spider-Man and collecting. Obviously, McFarlane, Venom, you know, the ultimate villain, and I just got these iconic covers, you know, Amazing Spider-Man number 316. Yeah, and what was awesome for me was that Eric Larson really picked off when McFarlane left to go do, you know, the regular Spider-Man series. Oh, speaking of which, yeah. Say that for later. Sorry, I'm thinking ahead of myself. Anyways, Larson took over and like really, it was seamless. And these covers, I mean, some of my favorite covers of all time. And storyline, of course. Amazing Spider-Man number 346. I still remember buying these off the rack. Amazing Spider-Man number 347. And that moves us to Carnage. Amazing Spider-Man 361, first appearance of Carnage. So, a good era for Spider-Man there for sure. Alright, so I was getting ahead of myself there, because I knew that these were coming up and I had to show them off. Spider-Man number 1. There's the gold, silver, standard cover. One of my favorite books in my collection, for sure. Alright, moving on, guys. I'm trying to make this quick, but yet give you guys some substance surrounding every book. Alright, this is Uncanny X-Men number 244. First appearance of Jubilee. Now, besides it being the first appearance of Jubilee, this is in actually the original bag with the original sticker on it. when I bought it. Probably when I was like 8 years old. This is when I was first getting into X-Men. I was already into, Ninja Turtles, and some other non-superhero stuff. I was really big into Spider-Man, even Superman. And this is when my brother and his friends really got me into X-Men. We had the figures, the talking figures and everything. And this was, I believe, my first Uncanny X-Men book. And I got this, I think, shortly before, the Jim Lee series came out. So this is the first Uncanny X-Men book that I recall buying. I remember reading the story thinking it was kind of weird. Yeah, it was a little like, man, how do you describe it? I don't know, abstract. All right, let's go into some awesome. Well, actually, I'm going to skip this because it doesn't have a board, and I'll have to set it up behind this one. Let's go into Star Wars #1. Now, this is a new one in my collection. If you guys saw, I did a video for this some months back, and it's the different publisher. I forget who does it. Like Random House or whoever did the publications, where they actually called it a reprint because it didn't have the barcode. But this is what I have, and I'm glad to have it for my Star Wars #1. All right, let's go into Captain America #214. This book is awesome to me because it's one of the first Captain America books that I remember buying. And Captain America goes way back as well. This isn't the original issue I have. That's in my collection. This is an upgrade that I bought recently at a sale. But yeah, the cover's iconic to me. Jack Kirby, and it was what, like I said, I mean, just it has that nostalgia surrounding it for me. I remember I got this in, okay, anyone in California, Northern California, we used to go to Willits, California, which is up north in the Redwoods, for weekends or during summer. We would stay in a little cabin, and in downtown Willits, which is a really old small town, they had a comic book used bookstore that also was a comic book store. And I got a lot of my Captain America books from that store, and I got this one there. And like I said, it's one of the first ones I remember getting for Captain America. So this is another big one from my childhood. Voltron #1. This isn't the original issue. I don't know what happened to the original issue that I owned. I paid $5 for this a couple years back, or a year ago, I don't know. So, but it was a key book. Growing up, I remember drawing Voltron out of it. Back to more books growing up. This was one that I loved when I was really little. I have a lot of the Walt Disney stuff down by like Gladstone. Mickey and Donald, Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck and his nephews, Uncle Scrooge, all those books. But this one really stuck out to me. I think I remember even having my mom read this to me. I drew this cover probably multiple times. But the story of, Jack and the Beanstalk, of course, Mickey and the Beanstalk, Mickey and Donald and the Beanstalk. So that's an awesome book that I have. This was an awesome one, too. Just because the Transformers movie was big for me. One of my favorite movies growing up, the animated film, and this is the only one I have out of this series. But #2, I have it. It's awesome. All right, a lot of you probably know the story behind A Death in the Family, this Batman collection. Again, I'll try to speak it quickly for those that don't know. I was walking either, I believe, to school or home from school, and I found this book in the gutter. And it was a little wet. It was a mess. You could tell it probably had been out there for a while. And someone else's trash is another man's treasure. This really got me into Batman. Awesome. I mean, you could tell, guys, that it's in pretty bad shape, but it's all there. It is all there. All the pages are there. And I cherish it. It doesn't matter what condition it's in for me. So, all right. This one I haven't had for too long in my collection. Maybe a couple years. It's my oldest book. I believe. Oh man, I should have looked this up. Is it 1948 that this book came out? Does it say on the cover here? No, and I'm not gonna waste time to look right now, but I believe it's like 1948, 1949, something like that. Porky Pig, 10 center. It is the oldest book that I own. That's not a reprint, of course. So, pretty cool. All right, X Factor, #1, original X-Men. I have like so much of this run. It's not the full run. I have the whole run until the new team comes, and then I have every issue until like 100 and something, 120. I don't know. So, love me some X Factor. X Factor #1. And then again, I know this is cliche, from my childhood, Superman 75, Death of Superman. This is the original book with the $10 tag that I paid for. It had just came out and it was already selling for $10. I think Lon his name was Lon, the owner of Pinole Comics and Toys. I think he gave me a couple dollars off. But this is it. Obviously, it's a new Mylar, but it's still in the original black bag. It's got like, I don't know, milk or something spilled on it. So, but it's still there. It's not. The bag's not open. So, and of course, if I'm showing that, I gotta show Adventures of Superman. What's at number 500, where he comes back. All right, another awesome one. New Mutants #87. Big fan of Cable. Obviously, it's the second printing. Oh well, it's cool still, even though I don't have the first printing. And then, of course, X-Force #1. When this came out, just like the X-Men series, Jim Lee X-Men series, I was a big X-Force fan as well. Loved Cable. Loved drawing out of these comics and copying them. And of course, I got to show off my X-Force #2, second appearance of Deadpool. So those are awesome. Get a sip of water here, talking it up. Hope you guys are enjoying my picks so far. Like I said, I know it's not a whole bunch of Silver Age key books, but they all mean something to me. And that's, I think, what's cool about comics too. It's not always about the most expensive, the most sought after. It's about what each book, the story that it tells for you. So, now we got Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man #1. This was a later add-on, but my love of Spider-Man, this is a key issue for me, so had to throw that in there. This one is a cool story, again, because I had this since I was super little, like 5, 6 years old, and I don't remember where I got it from. I have no idea. It's the reprint of Action Comics #1 that came out in 1938. 50th year anniversary, yeah, so in 1988. This book was selling for what, like $40, $50, if I can remember, at A1 Comics in Sacramento. So hey, even though it's a reprint, I mean, it's valuable and it's an awesome book to have. It's in pretty good condition. It looks like one of the staples might be, the paper's a little looser on the staple there, but all right, childhood. This was a real cool book. Superman #17, Silver Banshee. Again, it's just the nostalgia around this book. I remember being very entranced by Silver Banshee. I loved this cover. And I remember reading the story of this and a couple other issues that she was in. And it's just like that evil femininity kind of attracted me when I was a kid. Pretty cool, huh? Alright guys, going into some Jim Lee. I love Jim Lee. One of my favorite artists. And of course I had to throw in X-Men #1. I would have picked out the fold out with all the different variant covers. But this one is signed by Jim Lee. If you guys can see that. It's in silver, so it might not be showing up too good on the camera, but awesome to have. And while we're on some Jim Lee, X-Men #4, love this cover. Omega Red first appearance. Just love the art. Love Omega Red. And continuing some Jim Lee, why not show some early 90s image? You know what? Be gone, haters. Say what you want. Wildcats #1 means something to me, guys. I drew this so many times too. And love me some Liefeld. Again, I don't care what the haters say. Youngblood #2, signed by Rob Liefeld. You see it right there in gold. And, you know, to complete the trinity of Lee, Liefeld, and McFarlane, Spawn #1. And also, I did Spawn #8 because it's the iconic Spider-Man #1, you know, image as Spawn. Alright, guys, this book right here, now, I know it's not technically a single issue, it's a trade, but I'm going to show it because this book, Civil War, I have a couple of the single issues. I was working at Barnes & Noble in 2000 and end of 2006, beginning of 2000, whatever, right when the Civil War was coming out. This was a time in my life where I was focused on my music. I hadn't collected comics since I was a teenager, you know, and I just, hearing about Civil War, working at Barnes & Noble, I had access to all the trade paperbacks, and on my breaks I would go read, and I was just pulled in. And if you could see up there, I have so many trades. A lot of those came from when I was working at Barnes & Nobles. I got good discounts, so. But it's a lot of the Civil War stuff. Civil War Frontline, Civil War Amazing Spider-Man, Road to Civil War, all that stuff. Civil War brought me back into comic books. It really did. It was at this moment that I was reading this, and then I went home. And I remember I went to my parents' house. I got all my comic book boxes, my whole collection, out of their house, brought it over to where I was living, and started collecting comics again. And it was huge. It was a huge event, obviously, in the Marvel universe. It was a huge event for collectors worldwide. And it had that effect on me. And I'm extremely thankful for it. And it brought me back in. So it's been, you know, about over 11 years now that I've been back to collecting and have expanded my collection to over 11,000 books now. So pretty awesome. I had to show that off, guys. So, and then my last key before I just go into some covers, I said it. Oh, here we are. This was my pickup of the year so far. I didn't think I would have it. I really didn't. I was bidding on eBay for so long, and I'm on such a budget that right when I hit the number I couldn't cross, I kept losing them. But finally, I got one, and I can't believe the price that I got it for. It's in a fairly good condition. And I think if it was graded again, because it's an old grade, it probably would go up a couple numbers, or at least half numbers. And that is, of course, Captain America, #100. And CGC, it's a very good 3.5. I honestly think, you know, it could be a 4.5. I'm not a professional grader. It does have the tape along the side, but I mean the corners are actually really crisp. Well, you know, obviously it's not a 8.0, so it's not really crisp, but crisp enough, except for this little kind of a wear right here. You know, no rips, and I definitely think that, you know, it could get up to a 4.5. I don't know. I would love everyone else's opinion on it. If you can see here, you know, the edges, if you can see through the glare. I know it's hard, but, you know, there's no bends. The spine isn't too bad. You could see that there's a little bit of a roll where it's been flattened because the staples are right here instead of on the actual edge. So it's not extremely yellowed, but I got it, guys, and that's what matters. Okay, we are almost done. What I'm at, 24 minutes. I'm sorry, guys. I hope you're enjoying yourself. This is some good fun stuff right here because these are just some of my favorite covers, okay? They don't really have a meaning to me like a lot of the other ones. They're not extremely key books. And there's probably some other covers that I have that might be better than these, but these are the ones that I knew off the top of my head it could find easily and grab. So let's start with Wonder Woman number 40 from New 52, the 300 variant. I freaking love this book. Is that blurry? There we go. I love this cover. It's awesome. Wonder Woman, such just, you know, the energy in that cover is amazing. One of my favorites artists, Alex Ross. Justice number 5. How elegant Wonder Woman looks. And with the vicious claws coming through. Alright, let's go. I got some more Alex Ross. Here's Batman number 47. The Harley's Little Black Book variant. That's awesome. And of course, Princess Leia number 1. Carrie Fisher variant. I still can't get over that she's not here. I can't wait for episode 8. This is just one of my... I mean, I love Transformers art. And this is a good one. Transformers number 1. The Mike Costa series. I think that came out in, I guess, 09. It says right there, 25th anniversary. And it's just such a classic cover with Optimus and Hot Rod and Ironhide. So, a couple new covers that I just love. Suicide Squad number 1, Rebirth. Some Harley Quinn. Yeah. And number 7. Love that cover, man. Love it. I think I saw this cover on Doom143's video, and I was like, what? Because I think I had gotten the standard cover for number 7. I was like, I gotta find this one. I went out and finally found it. Here's a Harley Quinn number 21 Monsters of the Month variant. Something about Harley Quinn being a mummy is awesome. Another great artist, J. Scott Campbell. Amazing Spider-Man number 606. Again, my love for Mary Jane and Black Cat, and here they are, Peter Parker. Always getting into some kind of trouble, huh? All right, I'm gonna show a 3-book set here, and it is the new run of Red Sonja number 1, Campbell variant. Number 2. This is probably my favorite out of all the variants. I don't know. 2 and 3. It's tough. And the last book I am showing off, Vampirella number 1, J. Scott Campbell variant. Alright guys, that is it. Oh, man, that was some work, but it was worth it. 50 books. And just a little peek into my collection and what I've been doing, collecting over the years. Guys, TheDoom143. Please give him some love. Check him out. Like I said, I'm very humbled and grateful that he allowed me to submit this video last minute. Big ups to him for 800 plus subscribers. Check his contest out. And sub him up if you're not, guys. Awesome guy. And I'm glad to have time this summer so far to get back into this community, because 2 months of a break, it felt like forever. Alright guys, I'm going to stop this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you saw, hit the like button, leave some comments. I love your feedback. I try to get back to everybody's comments. And if you have not yet subscribed, please do so. And again, don't forget, check out the 3 links to those 3 other YouTubers that could definitely use some love in the description below, and give them a sub. Alright guys, The Doom! This is Chris with Journals Comics. Until next time.